True Blue Nation, Dodgers Report.
What's up, Blue Crew? Welcome back to True Blue Nation, Dodgers Report, your channel for everything about our beloved Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm your host, bringing you the hottest information and in-depth analysis directly to the Blue Nation. Before we dive into the exclusive news I have for you today, I want to make a special request. If you're a true Dodgers fan and want to stay ahead of the curve with inside information and analysis you won't find anywhere else, click the subscribe button now and turn on the notification bell. Help our channel grow and make our community even stronger. Don't miss any updates. We're on the road to another World Series and you need to be in the know. Alright, let's get down to business. The MLB trade deadline is fast approaching, and as always, the corridors of Dodger Stadium are buzzing. Sources close to the front office, with whom I've been in constant contact, confirm that Andrew Friedman and his team are working tirelessly behind the scenes. Although the public message in the offseason was to build a team so complete that we wouldn't need to be desperate in July, the reality of baseball, with its injuries and performance slumps, always imposes itself. And that's exactly what we're witnessing. The aggressive pursuit of pitching talent lost off-season, which brought us names like Blake Snell, the Japanese phenom Roki Sasaki, and relievers Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates, was a calculated attempt to hedge against what we experienced in 2024. Friedman was categorical. My goal is not to be buyers in July. He knew the mid-season market is inflated and often leads to rash decisions. However, the strategy of getting ahead of the game doesn't always work as planned, and the Los Angeles Blue Machine is once again identifying crucial pieces to make the engine run perfectly in October. The main news circulating in our inside circles, and recently corroborated by the respected MLB insider Bob Nightingale, is that the Dodgers are not just monitoring the reliever market, they are in active and serious discussions. And we're not talking about just any names. We're talking about the elite of the elite. The names on Friedman's table are enough to make any team tremble. John Duran and Griffin Jax, the dynamic duo from the Minnesota Twins, the mountain Felix Bautista of the Baltimore Orioles, the flamethrower Ryan Helsley from the St. Louis Cardinals, the consistent David Bednar of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the master of saves, Emmanuel Class of the Cleveland Guardians. This list in itself demonstrates the seriousness and ambition of our front office. This isn't about finding a stopgap. It's about adding a weapon of mass destruction to our bullpen. The urgency of this move has a first and last name, Tanner Scott. When we signed him to a 4-year, $72 million contract, the expectation was that he would be our dominant closer, the security blanket to shut down the tightest games. And while the talent is undeniable, the 2025 season has not been kind to him. His current numbers, a 4.14 ERA and a 1.133 WHIP, are a far cry from his 2024 All-Star level. The most alarming stat, however, is that he leads the MLB in blown saves with 7 so far. This creates a dangerous instability in the 9th inning, something a team with our aspirations cannot afford. To make matters worse, he left his last outing with an apparent arm injury, which adds another layer of uncertainty and even greater urgency. The truth is, the bullpen, which seemed to be a fortress, has shown some cracks. Evan Phillips has been solid, but we can't overload him. Kirby Yates has had his ups and downs. Scott's inconsistency is forcing Friedman's hand. We can't go into the postseason counting on luck or hoping a player magically rediscovers his form. The time to act is now, and the search for an elite reliever has become priority number 1. Each of the targets mentioned brings a unique skill set. John Duran, with his splinter that hits absurd speeds, would be a nightmare for opposing hitters. Felix Bautista, when healthy, is arguably the most dominant reliever in the game. Ryan Helsley combines velocity and control lethally. And Emmanuel Clace is a ground ball inducing machine, perfect for bases loaded, few out situations. The question, of course, is the cost. To get any of these players from their teams, the package of prospects will have to be significant. We're talking about names from our top 10, maybe even the top share of it. But Friedman has proven in the past that he's not afraid to make bold moves if he believes the acquired piece is the missing one for the championship puzzle. Negotiations with teams like the Twins, Orioles, and Guardians will be complex. They aren't necessarily selling, so we'll have to present an offer they can't refuse. This might mean giving up a young talent we love, but that's the price you pay for glory in October. It's a calculated bet, a strategic sacrifice to ensure that when we get to the playoffs, we have the most feared bullpen in the league. The front office is in full attack mode, and I can assure you that talks are progressing. Continuing our exclusive analysis here at True Blue Nation, Dodgers Report. It's not just the bullpen that's under the microscope of our front office. Another area that has generated internal discussions and is being carefully evaluated is our outfield. Although we have one of the most potent offenses in the league, consistency in some positions has been a concern. Specifically, the production from Michael Conforto and Teoscar Hernandez has fluctuated more than desired. And in a World Series campaign, every spot in the lineup needs to be a constant threat. Michael Conforto, who was signed to bring an experienced left-handed bat and power, has not yet found the rhythm that made him a star in the past. His early season struggles have lingered, and while we see flashes of his talent, the lack of continuous production creates a hole in the middle of the lineup in certain games. The front office hoped he would become a reliable source of RBIs, but the reality is that his performance has been erratic. This leaves us vulnerable, especially against elite right-handed pitchers where a consistent lefty bat is crucial. On the other side, in right field, we have Teoscar Hernandez. No one can deny his infectious energy and raw power. He is capable of changing the course of a game with a single swing, and we've seen it happen several times this season. However, inconsistency has also been his trademark. He goes through hot streaks where he looks like the best hitter on the planet, followed by stretches of strikeouts and poor at-bats. Defensively, he's not a gold glover either, which adds another variable to the equation. The question isn't whether Teoscar is a good player. He is. The question is whether we can count on him to produce at a high level consistently during the crushing pressure of the postseason. When you combine Conforto's irregularity with Hernandez's ups and downs, it becomes clear why Friedman and his team are at the very least exploring the market for depth, and perhaps an upgrade in the outfield. The strategy here is twofold. First, to add depth. An injury in the outfield now would leave us in a very delicate position. Having a quality option on the bench, someone who can step in as a starter for weeks without a sharp drop-off in production, is a luxury that champions usually have. Second, the possibility of a real upgrade. Imagine adding an outfielder who is a threat both offensively and defensively. Someone with a more consistent approach at the plate. This would not only strengthen the lineup, but also allow Dave Roberts more flexibility to create favorable matchups and make strategic substitutions late in games. I don't have concrete names of outfield targets like I do for the relievers. The talks here are more preliminary. However, I can say that the front office is mapping out players on teams that are out of playoff contention, looking for veterans on expiring contracts or controllable players who could fill that gap. The philosophy is clear. Leave no stone unturned. If there's an opportunity to improve the roster, even marginally, it will be considered. The combination of the aggressive pursuit of an elite reliever and the exploration of options for the outfield shows that the Dodgers' all-in mentality is more alive than ever. The offseason was spectacular, but the work of building a champion never stops. The trade deadline is the last major adjustment point before the home stretch, and our front office is treating it with the seriousness that the Blue Crew expects and deserves. They understand that the window to win titles, even for an organization like ours, doesn't stay open forever. You have to capitalize on the talent we have on the roster now. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Adding the right pieces around that core is the difference between an early playoff exit and a parade in Los Angeles in November. Final analysis. The main headline is clear. The Dodgers are in advanced talks to acquire an impact reliever. The focus on names like Duran, Bautista, and Helsley indicates we are not looking for a patch, but a pillar for our bullpen. Tanner Scott's situation has accelerated this need, turning it from a nice-to-have to a must-have. In parallel, the evaluation of our outfield's performance suggests that another move could be on the horizon. The front office is not satisfied with the status quo and is actively seeking ways to strengthen the team for the October run. Now, I turn to you, the Blue Crew, the heart and soul of this team. What is your opinion on these potential moves? Do you believe we should go all in for a reliever like Juan Duran or Felix Bautista, even if it costs some of our top prospects? Who would you like to see reinforcing our outfield? Leave your comments below. I want to know what you're thinking. Thanks for watching. If you value direct analysis, inside information, and serious coverage of our team, make sure you're subscribed to True Blue Nation, Dodgers Report. Turn on notifications to be the first to know when new exclusive information breaks. Let's go on this journey together. Stay tuned, and as always, go Dodgers!